Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this homily on the Feast of Christ the King. That's the last Sunday in the liturgical year, and there are various images that are mentioned in the readings this weekend on the feast, and one of them is that of the Good Shepherd, and I just brought along to show you the pectoral cross that Pope Francis wears. It's some thought it looked like skull and crossbones, but it's actually the Good Shepherd, Christ, with the lost sheep around his shoulders and the other sheep all around. So a very beautiful image. And we'll be talking a little bit about shepherds when we come to the homily. So we begin with the Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "When the Son of Man comes in his glory, escorted by all the angels, then he will take his seat on the throne of glory. All the nations will be assembled before him, and he will separate people one from another, as the shepherd separates sheep from goats. He will place the sheep on his right hand and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, you whom my Father has blessed, take for your heritage the kingdom prepared for you since the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you made me welcome. Naked, and you clothed me. Sick, and you visited me. In prison, and you came to see me.' Then the virtuous will say to him in reply, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and make you welcome, naked and clothe you, sick or in prison, and go to see you?' And the king will answer, 'I tell you solemnly, insofar as you did this to one of the least of these brothers or sisters of mine, you did it to me.' Next he will say to those on his left hand, 'Go away from me, with your curse upon you, to the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you never gave me food. I was thirsty, and you never gave me anything to drink. A stranger, and you never made me welcome. Naked, and you never clothed me. Sick and in prison, and you never visited me.' Then it will be their turn to ask, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, a stranger or naked, sick or in prison, and did not come to your help?' Then he will answer, 'I tell you solemnly, insofar as you neglected to do this to one of the least of these, you neglected to do it to me.'" The Gospel of the Lord. By now you will be aware of the outcome of the State of Origin game last Wednesday, and you'll be either happy or disappointed. As a refugee from Queensland myself, I'm very happy. I'm reminded on this feast of Father Pat Burke, an Augustinian who served here in Manly Vale some years ago. Father Pat has since died, but he had a very engaging way of preaching, often characterised by the unexpected. And on the Feast of Christ the King, he once told the people that kings and queens were out of date in our time, particularly as an image of Christ. He said, "Today, many people are interested in sport, so a more relevant image would be of Christ the coach." So he then proceeded to preach on Christ the coach. Not my intention today. I wouldn't want to give too much attention to Wayne Bennett or anything like that. Titles highlight the importance of a person, their responsibilities and significance in our lives. So Christ as King, as Lord, as Master, as Son of God. And of course the hundreds of titles of Mary, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Mother of Consolation, Mother of God, Untie of Knots, and so on. The important question today is, who is Christ for us? And what is our favourite name or title for him? And what is his favourite name for us? And how does he speak our name? On the Feast of Christ the King, the Scriptures provide a variety of images for God in the Old Testament, including that of shepherd in Ezekiel. Shepherds in Australia are on their trail bikes or quad bikes, and they don't look like shepherds at all. But in North Africa, I saw many shepherds with their flocks, dressed in the long robe, the traditional garb with the hood over their head, as they've been for thousands of years, standing there or sitting with their staff for hours on end, watching, devoted totally to their sheep. It's hardly the image of a king, but the shepherd is a symbol for God. God the shepherd keeps his sheep in view, rescues them, shows them where to rest. And here we encounter the intimacy and care of God as the shepherd in Ezekiel. I shall look for the lost one, bring back the stray, bandage the wounded and make the weak strong. Images echoed in the Psalm and in the Gospel. In Jesus, this kindness of God takes on flesh, our flesh in fact. Jesus is the Good Shepherd who knows and serves his sheep, who forgives, heals, consoles, weeps, and shares our grief. And St. Paul, in his first letter to the Corinthians, acclaims this humble Saviour who has died for us and risen to glory. Christ, our shepherd, our partner, King and Lord, invites us into his kingdom. In Matthew's Gospel, the humble Christ teaches us the way to the kingdom. Like him, we are to partner with the least ones among us in an unexpected way. And he asks the key questions, and who is my neighbour? Because love is at the heart of the matter. If we want to know the kingdom, we can look at the image of Mother Teresa of Calcutta bending over an outcast to minister to him or her. A mum or dad hugging their child, stroking his or her brow when the child is ill or distressed. The Vinnie's volunteer respectfully assisting someone in need. If we want to know about the kingdom, just look around our own family, as parents look after children and children look after their parents. Sure, we have disagreements in families sometimes, but we still look out for each other. Somehow, family still works. Kingdom is very near to us, among us and within each of us, here, but not yet. Love is the heart of the matter. This parable from Matthew is a parable of surprises, where Christ separates sheep and goats, credits people as doing a number of things for him, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, receiving the stranger, visiting the sick, the prisoner. But the sheep deny doing any of this. This is news to us. I only peeled the potatoes, cooked the dinner, worked for my family. Oh yes, and looked after the elderly lady down the road. I mean, anyone would have done that. Our goodness is a surprise. Jesus is a surprise, because Jesus goes about in disguise. We can't always see him because he doesn't want to be seen, at least as a king. And Jesus always praises the ordinary. Insofar as you did this to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me. Love is the heart of the matter. St. Augustine loved this gospel because he said our love of God, of Jesus, and of one another is part of the one and the same love. But Jesus teaches us there's no sense loving him if we don't love other people, It's what you do in your families, what so many do here in our schools, in our parish, what we will do for many years to come. This is our Christian adventure. It's a partnership experiencing love of God as love for each other, through participation in one another's lives, in all those situations that need our love. Hunger for a word of encouragement, thirst for friendship and for comfort, the stranger needing to be welcomed, the naked needing self-worth and respect, the sick who need healing and a cheerful attitude, and the prisoner of depression, loneliness, guilt, the one who needs company and forgiveness. And the homeless, of course, needing tenderness, affection and understanding, needing to belong. But these, our human needs, they are also our fears, the situations we often dread. Why do people panic buy when there's a lockdown? Food and drink and toilet paper. Isn't it that fear of hunger and thirst and sickness and that prison of isolation? And don't so many of us know that? Jesus, our King, is embarrassingly close to us in the Word and in communion at Mass, but just as present in the person sitting next to us today, the one who is sick or grieving, troubled, homeless, the asylum seeker or refugee, the person living next door, and the person living at your place, making life pleasant perhaps, or difficult, too long in the bathroom, leaving the mess in the kitchen, and of course the dirty clothes on the floor, the one who keeps us waiting in the car, and so on. But that's how real our call to love our neighbour is. And so that gospel question, how much loving is there in your life and mine? Jesus always praises the ordinary. Yes, indeed. Insofar as you did this to one of the least of these brothers or sisters of mine, you did it to me. God bless you.